All right, thank you guys for tuning in. We have a host, Facey and Sydney from Migrant Money Australia.
Being an immigrant, things are definitely not easy, especially when you're not familiar with anything. Sydney and I both came to Australia as immigrants, and we didn't have this support or any support from a community. So this is why we're here.
Look, we're here trying to build a community to help any immigrants get started investing, create wealth in a new country, and be financially confident, and teach the next generation about money.
That's it.
All right, Facey, who are you?
Yep. So my name is Faizi. I am 24 years old. I was born in Pakistan and I came to Australia in 2007. And I speak Urdu as my very first language. What about you?
Sydney, nice to meet you all, guys. I'm 29 years old and I came to Australia in 2008 with my parents. I was born and grew up in Nicaragua and I speak Spanish.
Wonderful. So this episode is about helping family. And we did a part 1 in episode 2. So this is episode 5. We're going to do a part 2 to helping family, talk about some more things that we do to help our family. So we'll start off with you, Sydney. Let's talk. Let's get into it.
Let's see. So pretty much talking about helping family and being an immigrant. That's always very tough and hard, to be honest. Look, probably I get started with, I got lucky, literally. And then I bought my apartment, which I live in there with my partner. And then 12 months after, literally a year after, I was able to come up with a deposit to buy an investment property. And the plan for that one is to rent that out to my parents. Okay. So it's going to be funny. So they know the landlord, they know where I live. And if there's any issues, they're going to come knocking. It's not like they're going to call the real estate. No, they come to me.
Yeah, that's right. Wait, so how do you feel about getting money from your parents and charging them for, because
it doesn't, to be honest, it doesn't feel okay. But then they told me, look, whatever, now we're paying rent, this is how much we're paying. Like if you can make it the same, we're used to it, no issues, whatever. And then we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Because we haven't even started, but then they said that they're happy because they have the budget, they know how much you're paying and they don't have to do anything else. Yeah, and then they're sweet. So pretty much that means they'll be renting off me. I'm the landlord. Like I have a real estate agency that's managing this just to make sure that it's all done proper. Yeah. I reckon the thing here is more about the safety because then they don't have to worry about being kicked out or having any issues or anything like that.
That's right.
And then as well, if there's any problems, because that's the other funny thing when it comes to renting, you don't complain.
You don't complain?
No.
What do you mean?
I think maybe that's an immigrant thing because you don't call them and tell them, when you're a tenant and you're renting, you don't call and tell them that there's issues because you're afraid you're going to get kicked out.
Yeah. You know what? I can attest to this. So when we came to Australia in 2007, we literally rented for like 14 years, right? So since we came here. And this house was built 40 years ago. It's a very old house. And obviously things break, shower leaks, this, that. The landlord's son is a plumber. He's a tradie. He can do a lot of things. Every time things broke down, my dad was the one to fix it himself. And I got so angry, man, when I realized this. I'm like, it's not our job. We have to get these people to fix it. We're using our time, resources. And I couldn't understand it.
And let's say your way of thinking is right. You're correct. Like pretty much if you're a tenant and you got a contract, you're paying rent. Like that's what's meant to happen. Yeah. But then look at it from his perspective is that if the landlord gets angry for whatever reason, anything, you just get a 90-day notice and like, goodbye, you have no place to live.
That's
and
right.
Your dad's pretty much thinking of you, your sister, your mom. Then it's like, it's a lot of stress. And taking that gamble, that risk is just, you better just stay quiet and just fix it yourself. It's very sad, but then I think that's a lot of immigrants think that way.
Yeah. Good on you for bringing that up because I did not think about it that way. He could have been thinking about our family as a whole. But the thing is though, we've always had good relations with the landlord, right? And they're good people. They're good to us and whatnot. They didn't raise our rent too much over the years. So it's been quite good. But I still think, we're paying money to live here. We're not paying rent to pay more to fix things, right? So it's, even though they were very, friendly. So we should have been a bit more assertive and not done it ourselves. I do think it's immigrant mentality, man, 100%, because you're thinking about it in a sense that you're very grateful that you've got a property and you're grateful for the opportunity, and you're not thinking about it in a transactional way. You're just thinking about it in this is my home. let me do this, let me do that, which it sucks.
Yeah, but keep in mind, moving places, it's a bit traumatizing.
Yes.
Like it's a lot to do. Like emotionally, physically, like it's very taxing. Like it's just too much pain.
Sure, yeah.
So that happens. But yeah, like pretty much going back to the beginning, I got lucky enough, got an apartment for mom and dad, and then they're gonna be renting off me. So I'm gonna be the landlord pretty much. So it's gonna be funny.
Yeah.
Now the cherry on top would be is that they live 2 streets away from me. So if they have any issues, they're gonna come knocking pretty much.
Yeah. It's it's interesting. It's far away that you still get your privacy, but it's close enough that you can still sort of have that relation. And yeah, that's good. And I was gonna say it's good that you are the landlord and not some random, right? And that's easier as well because obviously you're not gonna kick him out. And when you really explain it through, it makes sense. You would rather be the landlord than some random and have that fear of getting kicked out. So yeah. So when are they moving in? What's
So we'll see because pretty much
profit off them. kidding.
Well, we'll see because then the plan is they've already started moving pretty much. Yeah. So whatever little things they can move and that sort of stuff, and then the big move I reckon is going to be in 2 weeks. So probably end of this month in September they'll be there.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So in a couple of episodes you can ask me how things are going.
Yeah, and how the arrangement is working.
Then I can start complaining about having tenants.
and not fix their issues on time and be unethical.
But look, like I was saying, that's luck.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna lie and say that whatever, I'm making a lot of money, like whatever. It's saving. It's like no, I call it luck because I was able to save. I didn't have any issues throughout the years to be able to save for that, and then on top of that is lending the money. Because I never expected the bank telling me, oh yeah, you can borrow money, you can buy a property. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Like I never expect any of that. Because then I've asked Joe, like when I went to the broker and asked him, hey, look, I'm thinking of doing this. And they're like, oh, look, that's awesome. You're thinking of a parent. Like that's very good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, look, thank you. But like, is there any chance? Like, you reckon they can give me anything? I'm like, and then the broker told me, let me look into it. Like, I'll come back to you. And then they're like, oh yeah, look, you can borrow this much. I'm like, oh, nice. I have a budget. And then to be clear, like these are apartments. Like no, I affording a house, buying a house. I'm not even thinking of that.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously that is one of the ways that you're helping your parents to have that security. So what else? What else do you want to go into apart from?
Let's see. So another one that's a bit personal for me is now where I'm from. Officially, it's a dictatorship. Yeah, so pretty much, communist dictatorship, very similar to Venezuela, to be honest. The same way of running the system, that sort of stuff. And pretty much that means that my country, same as Venezuela, falls under the list in South America of having refugee status. So pretty much anyone that can escape or run away, go to anywhere, like they get like a refugee visa.
Okay, right.
The problem is leaving the country. That's a hassle. It's not as easy as you can think. Like it's not like you can just catch a plane and then say, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna become a refugee in the US." Like it's the same thing when you become a refugee and you come to Australia. It's a hassle. Like it's not just applying for a visa and then you just catch a plane and sort of stuff. No, it's a whole adventure, and then at some points risking your own life to do that. And then recently, pretty much this year, I found my cousin decided to actually jump the border.
Really?
Yes.
From Nicaragua to which country?
The US.
Oh.
This is the other thing that's as well very interesting as well. It happens a lot in pretty much the area I'm from. He figured out a way to jump it, pretty much found a group, illegal, all this stuff. Pretty much it's like you're watching a movie right now. People literally jumping the border, sort of stuff.
Oh my God.
And that's because him applying for the refugee visa inside the country and the government finding out, that will get him in jail.
Wow.
So his options are either he does this or he leaves the country, figures out how to live in like neighboring countries and do all the paperwork. But even then, the chances of him getting the visa, because a lot of people are applying for it, they're very slim. So he decided to take the risk and then find someone that will help him actually cross the border. And that's the thing, same as movies. He jumped the border. He got his license, passport, that sort of stuff. So the moment he jumped the border and then pretty much ICE over the border patrol people, they caught him and then he went through a detaining center. The thing that happened, like it's literally like a jail for you to get processed sort of stuff. And because of his status, that where he's from and the whole situation, all of that, he pretty much gets priority. So the moment he shows off with, hey, look, I'm from Nicaragua, these are the issues that's going on, he gets pretty much a provisional visa. And right now he's trying to work out to get the refugee visa.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's pretty... And then
it's pretty intense, I know.
But then, so throughout that process, did he get help from any family members through that jumping, like obviously that process of, going to different countries and eventually into the US?
Yeah, so pretty much there's a family member involved there that US citizen. He already knows that he was doing this. So all the help he could be is like, look, if you do this, jump the border, I can literally wait for you at the detention center once you've been processed and then pick you up. That's it.
Oh my God, yeah.
So right now he's in San Francisco. So he's got a job, he's working things out.
Legend.
I know, but the bad thing is he doesn't have a visa. He's still in the, let's say, bridging visa per se until he gets the official visa for him to actually work, do stuff. So, but he's doing okay. That's the thing.
But is he not supposed to be working right now? Or can he still get a job and do all that?
It's just the usual, pretty much your working rights are very limited. So he can work pretty much a couple of days and that's it.
Right, okay.
But then he still has, he's getting help because he's living with a family member that I'm mentioning. But then paying bills, rent, trying to help out as much as he can because he feels bad that he's not able to help.
Of course, yeah. I mean, he's been through so much to get to that point, and damn.
So when we're talking about helping family, he literally called me when he did it. And then a couple of days after, asking, hey, can you help out? This is going on, whatever. And I'm like, yes, I'm not going to say no to that because I know what he's going through.
Yeah.
But then, that's pretty much a very interesting way that we can talk about helping family.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, I think, okay, if someone wanted to come to Australia and ask for that sort of help, and hypothetically, like, say if that put your position at risk, maybe you could lose your job or something, would you still...
Keep in mind, the plan was he wanted to come here. But then he couldn't get... So that's the other thing about coming to Australia, because the only way for him to come here, because Australia doesn't accept my country in the refugee list.
Right.
Yes. So the only way for him to actually get access to Australia was student visa, come and study here. And then pretty much the plan was like, just come and study here, learn English, and then go to uni, that sort of stuff. So do the whole plan. But then along the way, he decided to, look, sorry, but thank you for the help. It's a good plan, but it's too expensive. Because keep in mind, to come here, he needed to show off that he had 30K just for staying in, living, that sort of stuff. So in the application, we're like, but you're going to come live with me. So that's my problem. So I did that. And then pretty much whatever, bank statement, show that we have 30K just for him to come over. And then the next stage is we got to figure out how to get 10K. For him to pay for the 12 months English course, that sort of stuff. We couldn't come up with the money.
You couldn't?
We couldn't. So a couple of months go by, and then next that I know is that, look, I found 5K American, and then I paid some people off, and then they, pretty much.
It's like a damn movie,
That's what I'm saying. Like it's a bit intense, and like you can, like it's like you could think of a movie right now going through all of that. That's what he went through.
But you know what, man? Yeah. You've got to do what you got to do to, get ahead. I mean, get to a better position than you are.
He's very like the courage to do that.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, because I mean, throughout the process, if you get caught, it's you could be facing a lot of fines, jail time. Like it's big risk.
Look, that's the thing that's interesting when it comes to visa and then pretty much getting to this stage. Is the fact that he was thinking, apply and do everything properly, but then he knew he had no chance of getting that. Yeah, and it's risky for him to stay where he's from and doing this. It's like that's the last option he's got, so he's going to take it.
Damn.
Because look, he's doing the right thing, because then, like I said, he literally jumped the border and literally went to the detention center. Hello, I'm here. It's not like he was there to work illegally, like pretty much the way that people think that whatever, you're an immigrant and you need to steal everyone's jobs. No, he wanted to do the right thing. It's just that he was forced to do something bad, and then now he's just trying to fix it.
Yeah. Right.
Because keep in mind, there's a lot of refugee camps when it comes in the Mexican border about people waiting to get processed just to let them in. Yeah, whenever they can, they actually pay people off. They jump the border, they get detained, and then the ones that are able to do this, that's the thing, because not everyone can do this. They go through it, like detention center, I'm a refugee, and then where you're from, show your details, you got to prove everything. Just for them to, okay, cool, we'll process you, you can leave. And then we'll call you to a court date to prove everything, that sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's a whole adventure, a whole journey. Yeah. And then, it's a lot to take.
Wow. All right. Well, look, that is, pretty insane. I have no stories like that at that level of helping family. But yeah, man. Good on that guy for doing what he had to do. And obviously now he's...
And look, if all goes well in a couple of years, we'll probably get him to come over and then just get him as a guest. Share the story.
Absolutely, yeah. Do it.
All right, do something a bit more relatable. How do you help your family?
Yeah, so I think previously you mentioned in my previous episode 2, that at the moment I'm just helping out with bills and I'm splitting it between myself and my sister. What we've done is we've just looked at both of our incomes and we split the expenses according to our incomes. So that's going fine and I'm doing that. I wanted to talk a bit about, supporting family overseas. And when I say family, I'm referring to people that are not in your immediate circle. So maybe your relatives, cousins, their family, and those types of relatives. So I feel like whenever we go back to Pakistan on our yearly trips when we used to, we would always pack a massive suitcase filled with just like chocolates and gifts and all this stuff. And I used to think to myself, like, okay, we're coming from overseas, but is this really necessary? Right? And that's might be a controversial question because obviously you're coming back to meet them after some time, but is there really a requirement for us to bring so many things and essentially inconvenience us in a way?
So when's the last trip that this happened? Like recently or?
Look, so we came in 2007 and we've been going back almost every year. Every time we go back, it's massive suitcase full of like gifts, shirts, chocolates, all this stuff for not just the immediate family, but just relatives and all these other family groups. So, and obviously, we've got connections there in terms of relatives and we know, people, and we don't want to be rude. But I just think it's interesting, that we're doing so much. And the thing is, they're not our immediate family. That's the thing which I look back now and I think, wow, are we really supporting them? Because they don't really need these gifts. They're doing fine. But it's a good gesture. But if we didn't bring such gifts, would it be So what, you reckon your parents are doing it to keep face? I think they're doing it because they want to be nice and it's a nice thing to do. But I don't know. I think if I was in that position, I probably wouldn't do so much. But the thing is, they've spent their whole life there. So I guess it makes sense. For me, I've only spent like maybe a third of my life in there. So, maybe I don't have as much of a connection. But do you feel that? Like if I guess you haven't been back to Nicaragua.
No, it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I am half Nicaraguan, half Chilean. So mom's Chilean. So we've been back to Chile to visit family. Yeah. And I know what you mean because then when we visit a couple of years, the year before COVID happened, pretty much mom takes her luggage, pretty much one bag, whatever, and then you're allowed to bring the 2 huge ones. And then she fills one up just with gifts, the same thing.
Yeah.
For the whole family, whatever it is, whatever she finds. The funny thing is that so she fills one luggage with anything that she needs that they might need, like any gifts and presents or stuff, clothes, anything random that she finds, and then that pretty much his luggage, he gets one as well, and then the other one, mom takes it. It's full of presents that pretty much are souvenirs. So she buys the little koalas, the kangaroos, pretty much anything that represents Australia. Like pretty much she goes to the Chinese markets just to buy like $1 or $2 little presents here just for souvenirs. And then it's just that, and then just gives them away.
Yeah.
And then she pretty much wraps them, and it's like, my cousin, my auntie, my nephew, my aunt, like anyone and everyone pretty much.
Yeah. I guess if you're going once in a while, then I think you should probably do it. But if you're going almost every year, I feel like it's a bit, you know. And I guess it's a nice gesture, but when people like start expecting these gifts, I think that's when it starts to get a bit weird. Like when people expect you to bring things, yeah, I don't know. No.
So pretty much whenever you visited these family members and friends, now it's like every time you visit them, you gotta take something for them.
That's right. That's what it's become now because we've gone back so many times with, something. And I think there is this perception of people over there that think that just because you're coming from a Western country such as Australia, that you're like loaded and you've got a lot of money and you're making dollars, not rupees. So, you're well off. And they think you're loaded basically. So, and are we loaded? Like, really? Well, we can't buy a house here, where. So, yeah.
It only took you, 15 years to get a family house?
Yeah, blood, sweat, and tears to finally get our own place. Yeah. Renting for so long. Yeah. But, I feel like there's this perception that people think because you're coming from overseas that you have a obligation to help them and bring expensive gifts and just bring a lot of stuff.
So what's the most expensive present that you brought over there?
I can't remember actually.
But it was like a couple of $100 or?
To be honest with you, I don't think it was that much. It's more so the volume. So like the amount of things that we do. Because there's a lot of families, a lot of relatives. So we probably pack like 20 bits of like, chocolate and then clothes and this and that.
Oh, so pretty much you're filling up like a whole bag with, I don't know, like 2-3 kilos of chocolate and whatever stuff.
Yeah,
like you pretty much filled up the whole thing.
It's like almost 10 kilos worth of chocolate, I think, plus clothes. So it's not expensive, but it takes up a lot of room. It's heavy and you can tell, okay, so there's a lot of chocolate. There's a lot of stuff we're bringing. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you tell me, is this am I being selfish here or is this reasonable? Like if you go back, if you don't bring any gifts, are you being selfish or, are you just not being selfish and you're looking out for yourself? Or because I feel like it's a lot of pressure because then you have to, pack things. You have to decide, okay, who gets what, who gets this much, and it's a lot of mental tinkering for no reason, a lot of mental stress that you go through for people that you are going to see like once a year, once every 2 years. Like it's very weird. And it's not even helping them.
As you mentioned, this became a habit pretty much. So your parents do this on every trip.
Yeah, I remember my dad used to make a list.
So you're forced to help?
Well, yeah. I mean, back then I was pretty young because last time we went back was like 2019. So I guess I wasn't that young, but yeah, they used to make lists of who's going to get what and who's going to get this. And I was like, okay, this is getting a bit weird. Like shouldn't they be happy to just, experience our presence because we've come from so far away, like, and it's not even helping them. It's not a helpful. It's just a nice gesture.
I think that's what it is. It's just a gesture.
Yeah, but that could be expressed in a different way. Not through like
bribing them with chocolate. Is that what I mean?
Yeah, like. Yeah, I don't know. This is something for the viewers to decide because I'm sure they can relate to this because I've heard so many stories of.
My theory is you didn't get any chocolate. That's why you feel you're complaining right now.
Nah, because all the chocolate we gave away to them. But yeah, I know. But I have heard of a lot of stories where people from Australia, they go back to their like relative's house or whatever, and before they go, they get messages from their cousins being like, can you bring me an iPhone? Can you bring me an iPad? Can you bring me this and that from Australia? And it's just, I'm like, whoa, that's very entitled. Do you think we're all like...
they ask you like for like literally straight out, like, give me a new iPad.
Like not me, but I've heard stories of friends and like this type of behavior.
Right, that's
like,
a whole another level.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
Because I was going to say, if you're complaining that your parents pretty much be like souvenirs, little presents here and there, and then for a lot of people, the way I'm thinking is like, oh, they're just being nice. It's a nice gesture. And then they're not asking for it, which is that's good as well because they're family friends, for a lot of time. But now you're telling me that relatives that you know of, that they go to us like, hey, bring me an iPad.
There are people like that, yes.
Damn.
And it's pretty insane because that's when it makes you think, okay, like
I haven't had that personally, to be honest. I haven't had that.
It gets pretty wild, man.
I think the most that I had is probably another cousin asking me, "Hey, look, how much are iPhones over there? Or like, is it cheaper? Is it worth like if you get me one and like like that's the most."
That's pretty fair enough. I mean, but yeah, when they want it as a gift, that's a bit,
They're pushing it, you reckon?
Yeah,
A little bit.
Oh,
All right, shall we move to issues we had setting up the podcast?
absolutely. So the issue that we talked about a bit is the fact that last episode
We didn't hit the record button. Or was it the previous one?
The previous one, yeah. But last episode didn't really go as planned. The topic was managing money as an immigrant, but we kind of like rambled off and talked about like random things. And we even wrote down that we were going to talk about, saving, budgeting, investing, all those different topics, but we kind of just rambled a bit. So to the people listening, sorry. And we'll try and maybe stick to
the script.
Yeah, some sort of guide or script, for sure. But I think I'm getting the hang of this podcasting thing now. We're at episode 5 and we hit the record button now. We record every episode, the video portion, and I'm feeling a lot better. Episode 1, I didn't really feel too good about this whole podcasting thing, I'll be honest. But yeah, I'm feeling good. What about you? Any issues, any feedback, anything?
No, same. We'll try and stick to the script. That's always a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So to everybody listening, our goal with this podcast is to help every first, second, and third generation immigrant in Australia with as little or as much as we can, because as we said before, we didn't have the support when we came to Australia. So being an immigrant, our experiences have added complexity. Obviously, you're learning a new language. There's a new culture. There's no relatives or friends to guide you. So it does get quite tough.
Look, if you're new to Australia or you've been here for a bit, please reach out. We wanted to build a community of immigrants that are willing and able to help each other without any exception. And look, any part of the podcast resonated with you, leave us a review in Apple Podcasts. It helps a lot. And reach out, send us an email, message, comment, anything. All feedback helps.
Absolutely. And lastly, follow us on Patreon for exclusive content, follow our socials, and share us with your friends and family if you like this episode. Thanks for listening.